Next speaker on my list, representing the independent group of Senator Michael McDowell. A shock to know, mate. 7 minutes.
I want to welcome the Minister to the House, and I just want to say that the report of the Cregan Commission of Investigation into the sale of Siteserv Limited to a company beneficially owned in the majority by Mr Dennis O'Brien is a matter of public interest. Siteserv was indebted to the state-owned IBRC in the amount of £156 million arising from its debts to Anglo-Irish Bank. Accordingly, the terms on which it was sold concerned the people of Ireland as taxpayers and as guarantors of the failed Anglo-Irish Bank. Indebtedness of the order of £110 million was written off by IBRC. In these circumstances, there was a grave obligation to conduct the sale of Siteserv in an ethical and lawful manner, designed to maximise the return to IBRC and to the citizens of Ireland. The Commission's report is very lengthy and detailed, but happily its conclusions are summarised at Chapter 27. And these conclusions have been laid before us as members of the Oireachtas for our brief consideration today. I propose to comment on those conclusions. The Commission found that the sales process was conducted in good faith by IBRC, but that it was tainted with impropriety and illegality as a result of the improper actions of 3 persons in particular, Neil McFadden, Brian Harvey and Robert Dix, whose evidence the Commission disbelieved and rejected in relation to crucial aspects of the transaction. Neil McFadden and Brian Harvey concluded a secret deal with Dennis O'Brien and persons acting for him, under which they would receive 15% of the shares in the acquiring company owned by Mr O'Brien as a management incentive. They collectively took steps to ensure that this side deal would be concealed from most members of the Siteserv board and from those in IBRC who were supervising the sale of Siteserv. McFadden and Harvey abused their position to ensure that highly confidential information relating to the competitive process was revealed to those conducting the O'Brien bid. Their aim was to give the O'Brien bid the inside track and an unfair and improper advantage as a bidder for Siteserv. The Commission found that the compromise sale process could have yielded €8.7 million more for the taxpayer. The presence of McFadden and Robert Dix at a ski resort in the at a boot camp holiday with Mr O'Brien at the precise time the crucial decisions were made or were pending in relation to the Siteserv deal does not appear to me to be entirely innocent or mere coincidence. Dix improperly and inexplicably concealed this event from his fellow directors, the Commission found. O'Brien had, on the evidence, made strenuous but unsuccessful interventions with IBRC to reduce or write off the major personal indebtedness of his friend McFadden to the bank. The 15% shareholding was deliberately structured from offshore to disguise the existence of those shares from creditors, including IBRC, the creditors of McFadden and Harvey. False backdating of employment documentation to which Mr O'Brien's company was also party appears to have been done to conceal and evade tax liability. All of these are findings of the Commission, and all of these findings are to be found in Chapter 27. These facts raise the obvious question as to why Mr O'Brien took no steps to prevent the improper actions of those who tainted the Siteserv transaction. None of those improprieties could have occurred had he lifted a finger to stop them. While the Commission forbore to deal with that question, we to whom the facts have now been conveyed must ask this question and seek an explanation if there is one. The people of Ireland cannot continue to ignore as a mere string of coincidences the finding of the Moriarty Tribunal and the Cregan Commission now, and the circumstances giving rise to the data scandal and other serious issues in INM which are under investigation. There's an undeniable common link to all of these events, and it is that this link is the tainted pursuit of greed by any means, fair or foul. Now, what I have said is based entirely on the findings which the government says it has accepted at Chapter 27 of this Commission. And those findings of fact give rise to questions which must be answered. Why did these events take place? Why was it that Mr O'Brien, who knew what was happening, He knew, he must have known that he was receiving confidential information improperly, even though the Commission found that he did not seek it in the first place. Why did he not say to McFadden and to Mr. Harvey, I'm having nothing to do with you. I want this deal to go through fair and square and to deal with it on the same basis as anybody else. And the time has come for the Irish people to demand of those who have received great assistance from the Irish people in accumulating their wealth that they demonstrate standards of ethics and propriety in their dealings with Irish state institutions. This isn't just a hard deal done between two sets of businessmen, both of whom are to be imputed with the capacity to look after their own interests. This was Irish taxpayers' money in IBRC. This was a deal which was or was not going to try to recover as much as possible for the Irish taxpayer arising out of the debts of Siteserv of over 150 million to IBRC. The Irish people are entitled to high standards, and I want to say this: I fully accept what has been said, that IBRC acted honourably and in good faith. But the Commission has found, and let's not forget this, that they were deceived. The facts were kept away from them. And the result was that this transaction was not merely tainted and unlawful, but that it resulted probably in the sale of this asset at an undervalue to a company owned by Mr. O'Brien, in which Mr. McFadden and Mr. Harvey were to have a secret offshore shareholder interest, in circumstances which give rise to the reasonable inference that the whole thing was structured so as to conceal from the Irish revenue the reality of where the money was going and what money would be available by way of taxation to defray the liabilities of those involved. So I welcome this report, but I think we shouldn't cover up what has happened here. And we shouldn't just simply say it's for another day, or for the Revenue Commissioners, or for the Director of Corporate Enforcement, or somebody else to draw conclusions. These facts speak for themselves. Thank you, Ciara.
Thank you, Shanador.